Hi everyone, thanks for listening to this video on the Zenware channel. So today we're going to talk about earthquakes. What are earthquakes, right? So earthquakes are interesting phenomenon, right? Very interesting phenomenon. And how do they relate to what happens at different locus, right? Or levels of existence, or dimensions, if you want to call it. We know we have locus of embodiment, different levels of embodiment. And we have locus where we exist as a system as well. Okay, moving within the Kalachakra, within the cube, your vehicle in the Kalachakra, moving information around within your vehicle to other places. Okay, as the Kalachakra does its calculations, as a calculation machine, with the purpose of the creator of the Kalachakra, who enters it to reach the center of the Kalachakra. Okay, which other people can strive to as well after a good amount of practice in yoga and Zen world. And after enlightenment. Okay, so you have different things to consider. Okay, but what are earthquakes and how does it relate to the Kalachakra? So basically, when you look at different levels of the Kalachakra, we're going to talk about one level where you have your vehicle essentially that moves through the tunnels of the Kalachakra, and on the sides of the tunnels, okay, there are some tunnels that are stable, right? So basically mapped territory. So not the version of the Kalachakra where all the tunnels are moving very very quickly. We're talking about the version where you have a stable structure, okay, and basically that you can build upon. So basically what you have is you have moving through the tunnels of the Kalachakra, you have on the side and the structure the Kalachakra, okay, the structure, you have basically doorways, right, that are flagged to certain colors, and basically that can access that doorway, and that doorway leads into a tunnel into the structure, right? So what is that? That's a place where people can reside. That's a place where people can basically build upon the structure of the tunnel, right? They can set their shops on the structure, right? They can live in the structure that's built in the structure. So you have different places of existence within the structure, right? And what is used, and for also the structure can be used to create more life, right? Because we can use the structure to build upon the structure, to create, to develop the structure, to till the structure, to do everything with the structure. The structure is the structure of life that allows us to develop upon it. So what are we looking at when we're looking at the structure? And remember that you can only enter a tunnel that you're flagged to, right? That you're allowed to enter, right? And the different tunnels are developed by the Shris, or the enlightened beings that develop that level of creation, right? So the level they're connected to, right? And they're flagged. So the programming of their flag on a specific door into the structure of the Kalachakra is done by the being that has the black flag, and the black flag is at all the doors because it's the flag that creates the tunnel, right? That creates the possibility of the story, the possibility of the life and creation of that story within that structure, right? And also, so what you see basically at that point is you have developments of new tunnels within the structure, new levels and possibilities of life, right? And basically the development of new allowances for development within the structure of the Kalachakra, right? So that's why we say, you have the Buddha that's an administrator, that basic Buddha being that's an administrator that basically administrates, in a sense, an energy hub. As an energy hub, for example, many systems that are operating at that level. Okay, so how does this relate to the physical world? Well, the physical world, as we know here, we're on the planet. Let's just use the example of humans on the planet. We're on the planet, okay? And what is the structure? The structure is everything that's physical, right? The structure is everything that's physical here that we can take from the planet and build into houses that we can take out of the structure, take out of the building, right? And we come from the structure too, right? Because our sustenance comes from the structure as well, right? Whether we grow our food in the structure and all this stuff, the seeds are physical of our food. We're built of structure as well. We come of the planet, right? So that's the structure. So the structure even creates life, allows the creation of life. We can turn the structure, dig the structure, if you will, utilize the structure to create new life, right? New living beings as well. New containers that are sentient, intelligent vehicles that can take activity and carry information and hold information, right? So, so that's how it is. So it's new developments of possibilities and pathways of life that are developed in the structure. So basically, new developments of us. So basically, as we, for example, take the food that's created from one field, well, that can give life to a certain amount of people, right? In that sense, if we drill for minerals in the structure, in the core, right? Well, that can give us a certain amount of materials to develop things that we need for our lives, right? To make our lives better, because that's one of our goals, to make life better for everyone. We can't forget that goal. One of the lives of right. All the purpose of all this development is to make life better for everyone as well, right? It's the development of life, and we want to develop well, not badly. And that's why it's important that the enlightened beings administer their different levels of creation, and that everything's done efficiently. As systems, what's important is that we work in a unified fashion as systems within the Kalachakra. Okay, sometimes it's tough to remember that we're supposed to work in a unified manner, because we think very individualistically. But at the same time, what's good for everyone else is good for us too, right? And that's the concept of Dharma. Right? So working on Dharma, right? And Dharma is for our greater good, right? The Dharmic principles, as Devas. We can't forget that. So, so basically, to go back to earthquakes, so what we have here, earthquakes, and what can happen basically is that sometimes you have reorganizations of the structure, right? So this can be due to collapsing certain pathways of life, where life and creation is built into that structure of the Kalachakra, but something happens, there has to be a reorganization of the greater structure of the structure. Okay, so maybe someone dug too deep or something like that, or something had to be reorganized, something had to be changed. So when you have a reorganization of the structure, can lead to a collapse of that tunnel that has been built into the side of the Kalachakra, that one that's flagged to all the beings that have that flag of that enlightened being that associate to that enlightened one at that level, that are allowed to develop at that level. So that can mean loss of life, for example, for anyone that was built on that structure or within that structure that had a reorganization of the structure. Right, so an earthquake is a reorganization of the structure, and that's very feared, but thankfully there's not so many of them, and we have a stability, right, where there's not too many of them. But sometimes there's a reorganization of the structure at the level of the Kalachakra, and what that reflects here is a physical earthquake on our real level in our everyday life that we have here, an earthquake, for example, and that's a reorganization of the structure. So as much as possible, the black being, myself in a way, okay, the system administrator of the Kalachakra that flags and does the reorganization of the structure and manages all that, sometimes there's pressure that needs to be released, but as much as possible, we try to make it as much as possible small earthquakes, right? Small reorganizations, smooth reorganizations, because it's a system and structure. It's a stability we've set in this Kalachakra, in this area that we've defined as our known area within which we exist, right? Also known as our planet, okay? Sorry about that. Little sneeze there. So that's about it. So that's why when we have a reorganization at the level of the Kalachakra and the structure of the Kalachakra, for example, such as the collapsing of a tunnel that's built into the structure of the Kalachakra that connects to the main tunnels, the main movement tunnels between the different flagged tunnels. Okay, so you have the primary tunnels, and you have basically the boreholes into the structure, which is where life exists, right? And moving within the greater tunnels is precarious, and you that's where you would settle into one of the boreholes, into one of the flagged tunnels into the structure. And when you have a reorganization of the structure, Okay, so basically what exists on the sides of the main tunnels, the wind tunnels, okay, in the stable tunnels, okay, then that's when you have an earthquake here, and hopefully it's a smooth restructuration of the structure, because as much as possible that's what we aim for, right, as a stable, to maintain stability, right? But sometimes there are some cases when there's a very large restructuration of the structure of that we have developed on in the Kalachakra, and at that point, that's when we have a huge earthquake here, a huge loss of life, etc., something like that, you know. And at that point, there are ways for us to build our structures so that they're more resistant to restructurations, right? So yeah, so that's one way to see it. So look at it a bit like that way, as far as what is matter. You know, what is matter? Matter, as we see it here, matter, everything like that, is the structure that exists within the walls, if you will, of the main tunnels that you navigate in the Kalachakra. Okay, that we dig into and build our lives and our houses and everything into the structure. Okay, because you can't build on the main tunnels. They're wind tunnels. You can't build on that. So you build on the other tunnels, right? On the side tunnels that are flagged to different levels of enlightenment, so different cultures, everything like that, different levels, all that stuff. So that's how we build, right? So that's here, that reflects to our life here, you know, and that's how we build here, you know, and that's how we're subject to earthquakes and all those things as well, right? So in that same sense, like when we bore into, like when you have a tunnel, that flag tunnel in the Kalachakra, you visualize you have like houses built on the structure, like you have houses built on the structure here, or within the structure as well, bored into the structure, in another sense, on that side, on that way. Okay, and once again, who allows a system to have access to another level of life, another level of creation, that they were not necessarily flagged to? That's the blacks. So, for example, when you see flags multiplying on different doorways on the Kalachakra along the main tunnels into the structure, you have the flag going everywhere. When you have a flag that's basically multiplying, you know that flag basically is of an enlightened being that is working at the levels of different cultures, different creations, and not as at a localized area, but that he's probably very much connected to the master story and to the black flag, and probably related to a specific development of the black flag that is developing specific colors for specific purposes, and that's why they're multiplying on all the doors. You know, so it's fun as an enlightened one when you see your flag multiplying on different levels, in different doorways and within the Kalachakra. All right. And it kind of works this way, where you're moving through the Kalachakra and there's little flags on the different doors, and it's like a force field, and you can only pass through a doorway that you're coded to, you know. So you wouldn't be able to access a level of life that you're not coded to. You know, you're basically connected to one enlightened person or another, and basically on a different path of life, connected to the storylines of different enlightened ones that are governing the storylines of different cultures and traditions. And as more and more people become enlightened, it allows for the growth of the universe, the growth of creation, and the growth and development of new pathways within the Kalachakra, to which we can code to new flags to allow for new levels of development. Okay, so I hope this video was interesting for you. You know, information about why there are earthquakes and how that relates to other lokas. So these earthquakes are actually happening also at lokas, as we exist as systems within the Kalachakra, in the Kalachakra view lokas, that you can experience when you become enlightened. Okay, thanks for listening.